Hello guys, welcome to yet another wonderful session of learning with Prepclass. My name is Tutor Olalekon Israel, your Prepclass English tutor, and I am super excited to have you join me in today's session of learning. Now in today's session, we will be answering question 6 to question 10 from the Jamb English 2014 past question. Remember, the purpose of this session is to help you prepare for your forthcoming Jamb examination. So, without wasting much time, take a moment to subscribe to this channel, turn on the post notification so you can be notified whenever we upload any new content. Alright, let's begin. Now for question 6 to 10, we have a passage here. So we are going to read this passage and use the information in the passage to answer question 6 to 10. Are you ready? Alright, let's read. Like all reptiles, snakes are cold-blooded, or more correctly, ectothermic. They cannot produce their own body heat. Instead, they rely on the sun to heat their bodies. Because they do not rely on energy from food to generate body heat. Snakes can survive on an extremely meager diet. Some wait for months between successive meals, and a few survive by eating a large meal just once or twice a year. When they do eat, snakes swallow their prey whole rather than biting off small pieces. Many snakes have specialized jaws that enable them to swallow animals that are far larger than their own heads. Although uncommon, some snakes such as the African rock python have been observed eating animals as large as an antelope or a small cow. With over 2,500 species belonging to more than 10 families, snakes are a large and successful group. They owe much of this success to their versatility. Snakes occupy habitats ranging from underground burrows to the top of the tree, to ocean depths as great as 150 meters. They are found on every continent except Antarctica. Although they are most abundant in tropical areas, many survive in regions marked by extreme cold. The only places without snakes are parts of the polar region and isolated islands, such as the Republic of Ireland and New Zealand, as opposed to places in Nigeria like Plateau and Gombe State in the northern part, where there is a large population of snakes. So this is the passage. We have read a passage on snakes, and we are going to use this passage to answer question 6 to 10. Question 6. It can be inferred from the passage that snakes are dash. It can be inferred from the passage that snakes are dash. A. Heterogeneous creatures. B. Voracious cow eaters. C. Great insect eaters. D. Homogeneous reptiles. Now, the answer to this question is option A. It can be inferred from the passage that snakes are heterogeneous creatures. Now, the word heterogeneous means to consist of different types or parts. That is to say, there are different types of snakes. The word heterogeneous means to consist of different types or parts. Now, from the passage, we can confirm that snakes are heterogeneous creatures. I'm going to read some parts of the passage, and the highlighted parts of the passage shows that snakes are heterogeneous. Let's read it together. Like all reptiles, snakes are cold-blooded, or more correctly, ectothermic. They cannot produce their own body heat. Instead, they rely on the sun to heat their bodies, because they do not rely on energy from food to generate body heat. Now, this is an excerpt that shows that snakes are heterogeneous. Listen attentively. Snakes can survive on an extremely meager diet. Some wait for months between successive meals, and a few survive by small pieces. That is, some snakes wait for months before they actually eat another meal, while some survive by eating small pieces. So those are different types of snakes. Let's continue. Many snakes have specialized jaws that enable them to swallow animals that are far larger than their own heads. These are another types of snakes. Although uncommon, some snakes, such as the African rock python, have been observed eating animals as large as an antelope or a small cow. Now, we can see from this excerpt that some snakes survive by eating meager diet. Some wait for months before having another meal, while some eat regularly, eat small pieces regularly. Some can actually eat animals that are actually larger than their own heads. So this shows the heterogeneous nature of snakes. Let's continue. With over 2,500 species belonging to more than 10 families, snakes are a large and successful group. They owe much of this success to their versatility. Snakes occupy habitats ranging from underground burrows to the top of the tree to ocean depths as great as 150 meters. That is to say, some snakes survive or live in underground burrows. Some live on the top of trees. Some live in ocean depths as great as 150 meters. These are different types of snakes. Snakes are heterogeneous. Let's continue. They are found on every continent except Antarctica. And although they are most abundant in tropical areas, many survive in regions marked by extreme cold. Now, snakes are abundant in tropical areas, but still, some snakes survive in regions marked by extreme cold. So, snakes are heterogeneous. There are different types of snakes. So, the answer is option A. It can be inferred from the passage that snakes are heterogeneous creatures. Right. Moving on, question 7. The most notable thing about snakes, according to the passage, is that they dash A. Abound in Gombe and Plateau states. B. Are versatile in reproduction. C. Eat big but seldom. D. Exist in families. What is the most notable thing about snakes according to the passage? Now, the word notable means what? To be worthy of attention, to be remarkable. So, according to the passage, the most notable thing about snakes is that they exist in families. An excerpt from the passage reads, with over 2,500 species belonging to more than 10 families, snakes are a large and successful group. So, snakes exist in families. We have over 2,500 species of snakes belonging to more than 10 families. So, the most notable thing about snakes from the passage is that snakes exist in families. Alright, moving on, question 8. Which of the following is true according to the passage? Which of the following is true according to the passage? A. Snakes are not in the polar regions. B. Snakes are endemic on every continent. C. There are countless number of snakes in the Republic of Ireland. D. Snakes are seldom seen at the Antarctica. So which of the following is true according to the passage? Now, the answer to this question can be found in the third paragraph of this passage. The word endemic means to be native to a particular area or culture, to be found in a particular place, to be native to a particular area or culture. It also means being peculiar to a particular area or place, but not found in other places. That is to say, snakes are peculiar to some particular areas and places, but they are not found in other places. So, the sentence, snakes are endemic on every continent, means that snakes can be found on every continent except. Now, this is an excerpt from the passage. They, that is snakes are found on every continent except Antarctica. So, the answer is snakes are endemic on every continent. They can be found on every continent except Antarctica. To be endemic means to be native to a place, but not found in other places. Snakes are found on other continents except Antarctica. Alright, moving on, question 9. It can be deduced from the passage that snakes have dash. It can be deduced from the passage that snakes have dash. A. No external auditory organ. B. Visible internal locomotive organs. C. No visual sense of measurement. D. Large appetites for antelope. Now, to deduce means to infer something that was not clearly stated. To deduce means to infer something that was not clearly stated by just paying attention to little details and hints. Now, option A, no external auditory organs. Now, there was no hint in the passage pointing towards the hearing abilities of snakes in the passage. No hint pointing towards the hearing abilities of snakes in the passage. So we cannot deduce that snakes have no external auditory organs. Option B, visible internal locomotive organs. There was no hint pointing towards the locomotion, that is the movement pattern of snakes in the passage. So we cannot deduce this information. Option C, no visual sense of measurement. There was nothing pointing towards the visual sense of snakes in the passage, so we cannot deduce this information as well. Option D is the answer. Large appetites for antelopes. It can be deduced from the passage that snakes have large appetites for antelopes. Now, there is a part of the passage that points to this, so inference can be made. Let's go to that excerpt in the passage. Many snakes have specialized jaws that enable them to swallow animals that are far larger than their own heads. Although uncommon, some snakes, such as the African rock python, have been observed eating animals as large as an antelope or a small cow. So, it it can be deduced from the passage that snakes have large appetites for antelopes. So the answer is option D. It can be deduced from the passage that snakes have large appetites for antelope. Alright, moving on, question 10. A suitable title for this passage is dash A. Feeding habits of snakes. B. Some characteristics of snakes. C. Snakes are legless, cold-blooded reptiles. D. Species of snakes in Nigeria and other lands. What is the most suitable title for this passage? Now, like all reptiles, this is the first paragraph. Snakes are cold-blooded, or more correctly, ectothermic. They cannot produce their own body heat. Instead, they rely on the sun to heat their bodies. Because they do not rely on energy from food to generate body heat, snakes can survive on an extremely meager diet. Some wait for months between successive meals, and a few survive by small pieces. Many snakes have specialized jaws that enable them to swallow animals that are far larger than their own heads. Although uncommon, some snakes, such as the African rock python, have been observed eating animals as large as an antelope or a small cow. Now, in this paragraph, we have seen some characteristics of snakes. First, snakes are cold-blooded. They are ectothermic. They cannot produce their own body heat. They do not rely on energy from food to generate body heat. Snakes can survive on an extremely meager diet. Now, so all of these and more are examples of characteristics of snakes. Now, we are going to look at some characteristics of snakes in this second paragraph. Let's read. Snakes occupy habitats ranging from underground burrows to the top of the tree, to ocean depths as great as 150 meters. Now, this characteristics of snakes is showing that they can actually occupy different types of habitats. They are found on every continent except Antarctica, and although they are most abundant in tropical areas, many survive in regions marked by extreme cold. Now, moving on to the third paragraph. The only places without snakes are parts of the polar regions and isolated islands, such as the Republic of Ireland and New Zealand, as opposed to places in Nigeria like Plateau and Gombe states in the northern part, where there is a large population of snakes. So the most suitable title for this passage is some characteristics of snakes. In every paragraph in this passage, we have what? Characteristics of snakes highlighted in every paragraph. So the answer is some characteristics of snakes. The most suitable title for this passage is some characteristics of snakes. It is not feeding habits of snakes. It is only in the first paragraph that we talked about the feeding habits of snakes. It is not snakes are legless, cold-blooded reptiles. We only talked about what? Snakes being legless and cold-blooded in paragraph 1. It is not option D, species of snakes in Nigeria and other lands. No. It was only one species of snake that was mentioned in the whole passage, that is the African rock python. Note that feeding habit of snakes falls under the characteristics of snakes. Snakes being legless and cold-blooded reptiles falls under the characteristics of snakes. So, the most suitable title for this passage is some characteristics of snakes. Alright, and with that, we've come to the end of this wonderful session. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, click on the like button. Do not forget to drop your questions in the comment section. Also, share this content with your friends and loved ones. You can as well join us on WhatsApp. Check for the link to our WhatsApp group in the description of this video. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of